Hello and welcome to PlayStationGrenade. I've been going through old Fortnite footage and looking at the map updates and strange changes from over the last 2.5 years. Today we're going to celebrate the 10 greatest changes to the landscape in Fortnite Battle Royale history. Like usual, sit your butt down for 10 minutes, and if you'd be so kind to use code ADAMARU in the shop to keep this series going, it'd be much appreciated. And if you think I've missed anything, please let me know your favourite map change in the comments below. So you ready? Let's do this. At number 10 on our list is the first huge map change ever seen, Dusty Divot. On May the 1st, 2018, we saw a meteor take out Dusty Depot. Yes, I say depot, sorry. Leaving a huge crater in the ground. Not only was this monumental for the game, as Season 4 brought in so many new players, it also began everything we know and love in a story sense. All storylines and map changes are pretty much due to this event. Do you remember the Hop Rocks? Although they overstayed their welcome, they added mobility and straight up old-fashioned fun to the game. Man, the memories are flooding back now. The divot wasn't finished there though. As the weeks flew by here, it was claimed by the in-game government, who built a secret facility around the meteor. Do you remember trying to understand what would happen next there? The final update to the divot saw the introduction of the Visitor. And yeah, we all remember what he started. Next on our nostalgia list is the building in Tilted, which repeatedly was destroyed. Oh, Tilted Towers. January 2018, if you remember rightly, the day this place was added to the game, it changed everything. It became a great spot for everyone who wanted instant action, and due to the buildings, we all had cover in the days before cranking 90s changed everything about Fortnite. But hey, this is about staying positive and enjoying map changes. Do you remember the many updates to Tilted? There was a single building which repeatedly was crushed and demolished. It once again started because of that meteor, which sent a smaller asteroid to take out this one building in particular. We didn't worry, it was rebuilt. It was then hit by Kevin the Cube on his rampage, taking out the building yet again. But don't worry, it was rebuilt again. It was then hit by an earthquake, and once again slowly rebuilt over time. From a competitive standpoint, this building forever being constructed allowed wood to be placed nearby, making this death trap a great place to land to farm mats in the city. But the crowning moment of this map change was the volcano, which took out the town completely. And guess what? The only surviving building was that very one. It so happened to be an insurance agency at that point, specialising in protecting locations after map changes. There was a homage to this inside. Great touch indeed. At number 8 on our list is a secret change you may not have noticed. Well, unless you watched my content because I couldn't shut up about it. The Stone family. We named them Rock the Dwayne Johnson, Sharon Stone, Kid Rock, and their Rockveiler Pebbles. Their map changes lasted months, beginning in the old Wailing Woods when a group of rocks formed together to become Dwayne. This was followed by his wife a few weeks later, but they were stuck so far apart, would they ever reach each other? Luckily, a random volcano popped up, which is pretty normal in Fortnite. The two were then broken down to rubble again, and over the next 8 weeks we saw them rebuild themselves and find each other. Rock the Dwayne Johnson found a flower for his girl, and Sharon Stone gave him the pose no man can refuse. A few weeks later, they were married, and she fell pregnant. The Stone family moved to the edge of the island and began to raise their son Kid Rock at the farm. In the last updates, we saw that son venture out alone, and whilst reaching for a flower, he fell to his death. Luckily, there was a stone dog on hand to help him out, and he rescued Kid Rock. And that was the end of their story arc. I gotta admit, I adored this map change series with the Rock family. If you liked it too, can you write rock and roll in the comments, please? At number 7 on the list is the food fight. Let's run it down. Since the beginning of Fortnite, we've had 2 major restaurants vying for our attention. Up in the north, in Tomato Town, we had the Pizza Pit restaurant, and in the south, we had the Der Burger restaurant. Suddenly, without warning, the tomato from the top of Pizza Pit vanished, and we were all perplexed. What the hell was going on here? When it returned, it was ancient stone. Soon after, the entire town was replaced with a temple worshipping the pizza gods. It was weird. Over by the Der Burger, they had their own problems. Foreclosure. Yeah, they were being shut down, and overnight, our 2 favourite restaurants were now deceased. This led to both companies becoming legit fast food restaurants vying for our custom all around the map in weekly updates. This food fight became a game mode, it was such a big point. And when both companies set up shop in the same town and vied for our attention, we knew something was going to happen. 1 month later, they were still trying to outbuild each other. And then the volcano nearby took matters into its own hands, destroying the entire location and both the Der Burger and Pizza Pit restaurants. The food fight was over. Or was it? We shall see.
You crazy mother...
Speaking of the volcano, next on our list is the robot construction. After the island moved forward in time, the mountain which was formerly a volcano became a power plant, energizing the bladeless fans we use to circle the map. With the impending threat of attack, the inhabitants of BR Island began to build a giant mech to protect us. Over about a month, we saw the food fight companies contribute to the war efforts by supplying a leg each. Next, the torso was created to look like Cuddle Team Leader, and when the arms were added, they added Rex and Drift to the amalgam. And finally, a bear head was added, and our island was protected from invasion. The battle that ensued at the end of this was one of the best live events in Fortnite history, in my opinion. I loved it. What about you? What was your favourite Fortnite live event? Maybe that could be next week's video if Fortnite continue not to update anything. We shall see. At number 5 on the list are the Rift Beacons from Season X. Season X saw us travel back in time, completely the opposite of Season 9. Well, it wasn't really time travel, it's hard to explain, isn't it? Over the entire season, we watched the Visitor, or the Thick Visitor, whichever you prefer, construct beacons which, when activated, caused breaks in time and space, bringing different dimensions to our reality. We saw Retail Row return with a bunch of zombie husks and fiends to boot. We saw Tilted Towers first become Tilted Town, a Wild West-inspired no-build zone, and later this became Gotham freaking City. Come on, that still blows my mind to this day. Fortnite became big enough for a Batman crossover. Wow. Out of interest, if you loved Gotham, write, "I'm Batman," in the comments, and I'll try and find you. But back to those Rift Beacons, we also saw a failed attempt to change the old rec centre, and we saw the return of Starry Suburbs, and personally, seeing Borderlands in Fortnite blew my mind, like so much that season. The Rift Beacons gave us weekly updates and brought us so much variation to the map. It needs to be celebrated. It was insanely good. Next, we have the return of Dusty Depot. As many players began playing in Season 4, they completely missed out on the OG Dusty. Thanks to good old time travel and bending time and space, the Visitor brought them back. You'd think that would be the end here to this map update, but indeed, it was actually the start of the end. We saw the Thick Visitor evolve the containers to put his plan into action. He removed everything, building up his own bachelor pad. This is the place he built those Rift Beacons we've been talking about. He slowly added more content, satellite dishes, he built his own supercomputer. Next, we saw scaffolding erected, and finally, the rocket from Season 4 returned to bring this game round into one full cycle. Remember the day we all got together and watched the end of this great island? What a great experience. All thanks to the return of the OG Dusty Depot. Epic. We've hit the top 3, but before we crack on, let's give a quick GG to some other changes that didn't make the top 10. The stage constructed for Marshmallow's show in Pleasant Park, the addition of the villain's hidden lair and the hero's mansion, the mind-blowing chair and TV house in Westworld. We had some great times in Fortnite, all because of map changes. But now, let's move on to our top 3 of all time. At number 3 is Polar Peak. Back in Season 7, it was Christmas time, and the Battle Pass and map updates reflected that. I mean, an entire extra section of the island appeared, covered completely in snow and ice. Over time, we all realised something was under all that ice and snow. We waited and waited and waited for the snow to melt, and we weren't let down. First, the Infinity Blade thawed out and completely ruined the game. It was fantastic to watch the competitive players complaining, but complaining for a real reason rather than just complaining like they usually do. Soon after, that was vaulted, it had to be, and we saw a castle in the ice. When the thaw reached the lower levels, the prisoner was revealed, frozen in place. Upstairs, there were some clues to be found. The gods of earth, wind, fire and water had their own table upstairs, with one chair thrown down as if they were taken away. Well, we found him, and the day came to see his face. But no, he escaped before we could, But it got even better. He became the secret character, and at the end of the season, he was also the guy which created the volcano which impacts so much on the island. And this wasn't the end of the map changes at Polar Peak. When the volcano took its revenge and hit the frozen mountain, it revealed an alien eye in the rock face, watching and waiting to be freed. The final update to Polar Peak saw the monster escape, and I think we all know how that story ended. Robot fist in the face. Good times. Here we go, we've reached second on the list, and it's best surmised by this. Hut Watch, baby! Sometimes it's the smaller things in life which bring us happiness. The Hut Watch we kept an eye on for over a year had zero impact on the story of Fortnite. It affected nothing at all, yet we all sat and waited for the erection of all erections. That should be a t-shirt. Going back in time, the OG hut was destroyed by Kevin the Cube and sat dormant for months until a tiny update saw materials dropped off, and 2 weeks later, construction began. Every 2 weeks, Fortnight, not the other one. Every fortnight, Hut Watch would grow and evolve. Our community had competitions to bottle flip off this sexy monkey fluffer, and people made different building predictions to see how it would grow. Hut Watch showed me that it wasn't only me who appreciated the smaller map updates, and at the time I really hoped that impacted Epic Games too. Hut Watch will sadly be missed, but I have a sneaking suspicion it will return. Keep an eye out, and give me a shout if you ever see it again. Hut Watch forever! Here we go, the greatest map changes in Fortnite history, and we've reached number 1. And I think you know which update affected the island the most. It's none other than everyone's best friend, Kevin the Cube. Kevin first appeared in the desert biome after a group of cacti were destroyed by freak lightning bolts. I was lucky enough to be in game that day when Kevin arrived, and it was definitely an epic gamer moment. Kevin gave us months of map changes as he rolled slowly around the map. We attempted to stop him with builds, and we used him as a weapon to eliminate other players. Rolling Kevin was a god to us all. Finally though, after he destroyed a few buildings, he made his way to Loot Lake. And when he reached it, his final act was to give us a bouncing Loot Lake for a few days. He wasn't finished with us, or the map for that matter. His legacy continued as he rose back up and reclaimed his dominance. It's thanks to Kevin we saw the floating island move around continuously for 1 season, keeping the game feeling fresh. Kevin brought us Fortnitemares, Kevin revealed the bunker to us. Who'd have thought a random in-game event many people missed could become so important to the world of Fortnite? Even now, his legacy continues at steamy stacks. I'm pretty confident that Kevin will return, and all those map updates we long to see will come back with him. Fingers crossed, Epic, please bring back regular map changes. They keep us coming back each week. So that's our list. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you put things in a different order? I'll be in the comments to see what you think. As always, a humongous shout out to these people who've used code ADAMARU in the shop over the last 2 weeks. You make these videos possible, and I am humbled by your support. Thank you so much. If you don't see your name, please know I'm a few days behind on my DMs, but I will get to you. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time. Hut Watch forever. See you soon.